We caught up yesterday on the New Economy Forum, but I want to pivot and start with the gas markets and the energy crisis that we have in Europe. Prices up 19%. I mean, we move from these moments of existential angst in the gas markets to moments of relief when Putin says he will give us more gas. How serious a crisis are we facing right now?
It's a huge crisis. I mean, it's different from country to country in Europe, but it's serious for all of us. For the ones that are hit the hardest, really, this can ruin the economy of many households. It'll lead to poverty even. Some places. So it's considered one of the most serious crises we've been in for a while.
Everybody puts their hope on Russia and Putin delivering gas through Nord Stream 2. There is another delay. Is Nord Stream 2 really the answer to this crisis or sticking plaster?
It's definitely not a long-term answer. It might help to remedy the situation in the short term if it will start working. But we need to look into a future where we are much less dependent on gas and actually any fuel from other countries outside of Europe. And a big part of this transformation is moving on to more renewables. So we'll be self-sufficient with energy, but it will be renewable energy that we control ourselves.
The pricing of renewables has been much talked about, the demolition in the pricing of some renewables. Does that need to improve before people want to invest more, or the grid takes more renewables? What's the challenge there?
Well, actually, a lot of trends are moving in the right direction. Take offshore wind as an example, something that we have a lot of in Denmark. There now, offshore wind competes with coal, most places in the world now, in price, which is, of course, a huge progress. But there's no doubt that in the years to come, we're looking into the need to subsidize many sources of renewable energy. If we don't do that, the market won't improve enough.
I was going to use the phrase all in, but you've gone heavy and hard in an offshore wind development, and the sentiment is this is a big bet, and there are big logistical issues with that. Is there a risk of going so hard, so heavy in this offshore project?
I would actually put it the other way around. If we don't do that, we risk staying in the situation we're in now, where we are dependent on energy from other countries. That's the first thing. But even more seriously, this is also about combating climate change. And if we are to do that, we need to move away from fossils, and we need to have more green renewable energy. And offshore wind is probably the source of that has the biggest potential.
We caught up yesterday on a panel here with Rani Al-Mashat from Egypt. They're going to host COP next year. You said to me, we were having a chat, a briefing, and you said, you know, the phrase Alak Shama, keeping 1.5 alive. You were in the room for the watering down of the language. Is that a good compromise or a tragedy?
It's a good compromise, but at the same time, we do need to acknowledge that a lot of more work needs to be done. So what did the compromise secure? Well, it secured us that we still have the opportunity and the possibility of revising the national pledges. But if that doesn't happen, then there's no chance of us staying below 1.5. So countries really need to do more than they're doing today.
Well, you can renew pledges, but there's no bite. The UN doesn't have any bite. If you don't live up to your promises, how do we guardrail that?
One of the reasons why countries aren't doing enough with regards to the pledges is that even though there isn't any formal sanctions, countries don't like to be named and shamed. So I'm not really that concerned with that. The reason why they're not doing is that they know it has consequences if they do. So the problem is actually more, I think, that some countries still haven't really bought in on this transformation. And they're trying to sort of sit on the fence and wait and see what will happen. But we need to persuade everybody that this is the way the world energy markets are going.
Look, China is producing a record amount of coal. Here we are, we're at the New Economy Forum. We've just come off COP. They're restarting coal-fired power plants. It doesn't sound to me as if we're making progress. This sounds like a retrograde step. Correct me.
Well, in some ways, definitely not enough is being done in some of the big growing economies. But if you look at China, one thing that they have done is that they've said that they will stop completely the financing of coal abroad. This is huge progress. That was one of the things that came out of the COP. Also, an effort to reduce methane with both the US and China on board. Huge progress. An effort to stop deforestation. So, again, I definitely argue that we need to do much more, but there are progress.
we're in the business of finance at Bloomberg, and there's a New Economy Forum. Green bonds for Denmark, how close are we?
Well, we're working on that now, and I am very confident that that will be an important part of the way we finance our transformation in the future.
The kind of size we could get in green bonds?
Well, I'm not going to predict that.
You're not going to speculate?
No.
Okay, well, it's worth a push.